This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by lynda.com, the unparalleled online video training library. For a free 10-day unlimited trial, visit lynda.com/MacVoices. Hi, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices at NAB in Las Vegas. I'm making my annual trip to the Libsyn booth to talk to Rob about Libsyn, and under the heading of full disclosure, Libsyn hosts all my audio files, so I am a customer. I'm a very satisfied customer. I say that every year, Rob, and it never changes.
I like that. I don't want it to change. I want every year for you to come back and just keep saying the same thing.
Count on it. Count on it. We'll do it. But that doesn't mean that Libsyn hasn't changed. What's new with Libsyn?
We added a couple good new features last year. We just added where you can publish off to SoundCloud. We added the feature where you could take the URL from our file that you host with us and drop it into Twitter, drop it into Facebook. It creates a player. We've updated our iOS app, so it's much better. We have iOS apps, Android apps, Windows Phone 8 apps for your shows. And we've improved the My Libsyn subscription premium service, make that much more robust. So those are some of the things that we've seen a lot of uptake in the last year. And of course, a lot more uptake and interest in podcasting in the last year.
Yeah, that's obviously has been good for your business, but it's good for all of us. I think that people are finally getting it.
It's nice, yes. I no longer have to say, do you know what podcasting is when people ask me what my job is? I just say, hey, what podcast do you listen to? And then I explain what I do.
I'm curious, with that question, do you usually get a positive answer?
Almost always now I get somebody who says, yes, I listen to this show or that show. Yeah. It's very rare when someone says I don't listen to podcasts.
That is fantastic for all of us. I think some of it may have to do with the frustration over the cable companies and the whole cord-cutting movement and all that people are looking for alternative content and alternative methods of delivery.
Yeah, and that people have a lot of time when they're driving, and now they have the smartphones, and the smartphones are ubiquitous in the U.S. now. Everybody has got a smartphone, and especially in the U.S., iOS dominates, and podcasting is still very iOS-centric, and it's there, it's easy, it's free content. And it fills their day and their morning when they're driving to work. And some people, based on our downloads, quite a few people still consume at work.
We're not calling any names, though.
No, but we can see the spikes. The biggest time of download is during the workday in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know why that surprises me, but it does.
Yeah, it's not in the morning. It's not during the drive. It's basically in the middle of the day. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is our biggest time for downloads.
Interesting. Let's take Libsyn top to bottom, though, because frankly, you said some things in there about new features that I didn't know about. So I can come to you, first of all, with just a file, have you host it, and I do all my own work if I want to.
Yeah, you can do that. You can come to us with your file, upload it to us, add your title and description, hit publish, and it goes to your feed. You don't have to do much. You can connect your Libsyn account to publish into your WordPress account or a Blogger page or publish into a Tumblr page. You can bring your own custom URL to your Libsyn account, so it's just it looks like it's your URL. We don't lock you into anything. Or some people just upload the file and take that URL and manage their own, and have people that hand code their own RSS feed. We let you do whatever you want to do with it. Make it real easy for most people. Just want to be able to upload a file, put a title, put a description, hit publish, and be done. And that's what we're here for most people.
I'm one of those guys that just hosts the file and I do all the work, but I've done this for a while, so that's where we all started. But a lot of people just getting into it now are looking for that much easier solution.
Right. Yeah, most people don't want to churn their own butter.
Okay, I wouldn't have come up with that example, but that works.
Yeah, but most people want to go to the store and buy the butter prepackaged and pre-measured. Other people, that's not good for them. They're going to buy the rock salt and they're going to make their own ice cream and they're going to churn their own butter, and that's okay. We support both groups equally.
What do you see as trends in podcasting? Obviously growth, that's a good thing, but are there other trends?
Mobile. Last month, for the first time, we saw over 66%, so we were actually 68% of our downloads were direct to mobile devices. For the first time, over 2/3 were direct to mobile. And so that's one big thing. The iOS to Android download ratio keeps growing. It's now last month it was 5.3 to 1 iOS downloads to Android. And if you take it to a per device level, there's 5 times more Android devices out there, supposedly. That's over 25 to 1 ratio on typical consumption iOS devices to Android globally.
Why do you think? Do you have an opinion? Is it because it's podcasting and that's where it started with the iPod?
It's native. The podcast app is native on iOS. There is nothing native on Android. There's no native equivalent. Google, Android do not support podcasting natively, and until they do, they'll never catch. In a matter of fact, they keep falling back away from the iOS.
How about from the video side, which is what we're doing here? Is video podcasting growing? Because there are a lot of reasons to do video podcasting. There are a lot of reasons that I still do an audio version as well. Because audio, you can be washing the dishes and listening or doing other things. Video, you really need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I was talking about this in a slide I did earlier in the week. I created a slide, it was in May of 2012, and in that slide I showed the first, on that day in iTunes, the first 58 episodes of the top episodes were all audio, and then you didn't get to video till you got to 59 or 60. And I said, I couldn't remember when I pulled that data. I go, I wonder if I cherry picked. I just found a day that was just happened to be like that. And I go, let's see where it is today. So on April 11th, I went into iTunes and I looked for the top 200 episodes in iTunes, and I said, well, let's see where the first video one is. And I'm like, oh, I must have made a mistake. I must be looking only at the audio because I don't see any video ones in here. And I looked up and nope, I was looking at all, and there wasn't a single video in the top 200 top 200 episodes in iTunes on Saturday.
That's really interesting.
So it comes down to, as you mentioned, there's a lot more time in the day to listen to audio than video. And people that do both audio and video on iTunes, and we've seen this before, when we looked through a lot of shows, it's about 10-to-1 ratio, the audio content to the video. So unless there's a compelling reason or compelling content for the video to make it stand out from the audio, usually audio in iTunes for podcasts is much bigger on the download numbers than the video.
It's not exactly a surprise for the reasons you said. I am a little surprised there's quite that much difference, but
I was surprised. I mean, and I cover this, and I was surprised. I really thought I was making a mistake. I had to actually go in and look at the top list of videos, find the first video that was featured. And by the way, the number one video that was of the episodes was an Apple podcast, and it was right at that point in time on the front page of the New and Notable. It was in the first spot. It was in Apple's. It was for the Fast and the Furious interview or something that they did. So you think that right now that would be real hot, and it wound up, I found it was in the TV and film section. It was 17th in the TV and film subgenre, and it didn't even make it to the top 200. So it was a pretty telling sign of where podcasting is now.
The other trend we're seeing right now, I think, is so much live streaming. Everybody is in love with live streaming. I like the idea for some reasons, but at the end of the day, I live in an on-demand world because that lets me watch or listen on my schedule, not somebody else's. From your observation point, what do you see and how is that affecting us?
Live streaming at best is 1% of your total audience when you make it also available on demand. At best, so there's three reasons to do live streaming. One, you have audience interaction. Two, you're covering sports. Three, you're covering news. If you're not doing those three and you're doing live streaming because you think it's sexy and hot, you're actually going to hurt your overall audience, because what happens is you're not as good live as you are edited. And I say to people, don't do live to view live. I know a lot of people that have an audience, have a show, and they think, I'm going to do live, I'm going to grow my audience, and ultimately what they do is they take the live stream that they did and they just make it now available as on demand, and their audience goes, wow, your show has gone down in quality because they're not editing, and they actually lose audience. So don't do live streaming is my recommendation unless there's a compelling reason, and number one compelling reason would be live interaction with your audience. And then even after you do that, don't upload that unedited version to iTunes. Again, that's going to be where your bread and butter is in the on-demand. Edit it, make it as good as possible, and then make that available.
Okay, so you've just hit one of my pet peeves. Back 10 years ago when podcasting started, it seemed to be the cool thing that, okay, this is new media, and we don't need any of that editing stuff, and we're just going to fly by the seat of our pants and then make you listen to it. And that's always bothered me because it feels like a bit of disrespect for the listener and for the audience. And I just heard you say, you use the word edit a lot of times. Do you advocate a lot of editing to make your show shorter, tighter, better?
Absolutely, yes, 100%. If you are podcasting and you're not editing, I always say editing is your friend. And if you can take 5 minutes of content out of an hour, or 5 minutes out of 30 minutes by taking out ums, uhs, you knows, pauses, pregnant pauses, really pregnant pauses. Oops, there's someone knocking at the door, let me come back and leave the recorder going pauses. That makes your show seem faster, seem snappier, and people are going to appreciate that.
That's my feeling as a listener. Forget being a producer. And so I try to produce what I enjoy.
Yeah, and think about, exactly. That's the best way to put it. Do you want to hear pregnant pauses? Do you want to hear people stammering, re-answering questions, sneezing and coughing? No. So make sure you take that out of your own show and listen to your. I am surprised how many people I talk to that say after they're done and they put their show up, they don't even listen to it. Listen to your own show.
And listen to it in multiple environments too.
Oh yeah. If you can't, that's the other one. People will record at too low a level, and people can't hear it when they're driving down the road. Put earbuds in your ears, get in your car, and drive in the car. And if you can't hear what you're saying, neither can your audience.
Great tip. And use earbuds, use speakers, in the car, at home, all the places that you might listen to podcasts. Test it out.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of your audience is going to be consuming on an iOS device. The majority of them are going to be using the Apple earbuds. Listen to your show with the Apple earbuds.
Sound advice. To take it back to Libsyn, you were talking about just people being ready to upload their file and go. You make it pretty easy to get into podcasting. You also make it pretty affordable.
Yeah, it starts at $5 a month. That's it. It's a podcasting, and you're into iTunes and it's Stitcher, and now we're going to be adding TuneIn here shortly as a destination with Libsyn. So you don't have to email TuneIn anymore and send them your link and artwork and other stuff. You'll have it as its own destination. You'll even be able to publish just to TuneIn if you want to. So yeah, we make it really easy, really affordable, $5 a month. If you want to have your own smartphone app, iOS, Android, Windows Phone 8, it's $50 setup fee. It's $10 additional a month. You have to have a $20 account. So you're looking at $30 a month to have iOS, Android, Windows Phone 8, Windows 8 apps available free to your audience. That's it, and a $50 setup fee, and you're good to go.
I think you've got it all covered.
We try, but we'll add more. We've got other things coming that we can't talk about yet, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun year.
Okay. So next year, right here, we'll hear about all those things.
Next year, we'll be talking about some of the things we couldn't talk about now, and we're going to say, wow, yeah, I wish we could have talked about it then.
Hey, Rob, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for the time, as always.
Chuck, thank you again, and thank you for still hosting with us, and we look forward to seeing you in 2016.
That sounds good, if not before.
Right.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices at NAB in Las Vegas. We will be back with more soon. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the MacVoices blog. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, to stay up to date on all the latest MacVoices news from our front page or at MacVoices.com/newsletter. Do more with your Apple tech by subscribing to the free MacVoices magazine on Flipboard by visiting MacVoices.com/magazine. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.